Greetings, ladies and gentlemen. Q Nostalgia here, and I don't know if you've been following the body type nonsense with Oblivion. I know there's a lot of people who are fed up with the woke versus anti-woke stuff, but this isn't going to go away until we get back to normalcy. There's just a lot of people are not willing to turn a blind eye to this type of confusion. It's bullshit. When you take a game like Oblivion, it came out in like 2007 or something like that. It was during the PS3 and 360 era. And you shoehorn this kind of crap into it, there's always going to be a subsection of people who are like, no, I'm not going to deal with that. And if I have to deal with it, well, I guess I'll buy the game, but I'm going to mod it away. I'm going to mod the gay away.
All right, gay.
Because I don't want to see that kind of shit. It goes against everything that I stand for. It goes against my principles, and it's ridiculous. Me, personally, I've talked about this stuff a number of times in the past. I think it's subversive, divisive garbage. And it works pretty well to divide people and get people arguing. That's what I think it's there for. I think that's the primary purpose of it. And I've pointed to how it was used in the past to divide people. I'm not going to go into a whole history lesson on this stuff. I've got plenty of videos you guys can check out. I'll put one up for you guys to click on now if you're interested in learning more about the history of how subversive and shitty this stuff is, okay? But it's interesting. Nexus Mods has been fighting against all of the mods that try to bring sanity back to these games and make them normal again. And you'll always hear people who are like, I don't see why it's such a big deal. Well, if it's not a big deal, then why did they go in and change it to begin with? It's something they had to change. The game always had male and female. They had to go in and change it. So if it's not a big deal, obviously it is because they changed it. And if it's not a big deal, then why are the mods constantly taken down? Why does this keep happening? This shit right here. Over and over again. So whether you like it or not, there's a culture war going on, okay? You don't have to like that culture war. You can be rolling your eyes in the back of your head and sick and tired of that shit. I'm tired of it myself. I'm waiting for it to go away, and I'm surprised that it's still here in current year, honestly. In 2025, with as much of a beating as all this woke nonsense has taken, I'm kind of shocked that devs are still doubling and tripling down on this trash, but nevertheless, they are. And Nexus Mods continues to delete it, except this time, it wasn't a smaller game, like, say, Hogwarts Legacy, which was pretty big. It's a bigger game, so they caved into the pressure. There was a lot of pressure around this, because it's a big release, and people had just gotten sick of it. And Nexus Mods had to relent, and I'm going to read their statement to you guys here in a minute, but I think it's funny, because when Hogwarts Legacy came out, you had a character in the bar. It was like a last-minute change. It was a female character, but they gave her a male voice.
It's a treat to see you, Lodgok. I shall let you know if I hear anything.
Thank you, Sirona.
You be well.
It's a treat to see you, Lodgok. I shall let you know if I hear anything.
Thank you, Sirona.
You be well.
And you can tell they just kind of shoehorned that in there last minute to appease the woke mafia, okay? And then you had the fact that it's set in like 17 or 1800s England. So people made mods to make it more, racially, historically accurate, shall we say. And those mods were all taken down. And you can still find them. They're on other hosting mod sites, but Nexus being the primary one, it's like the giant that won't be taken down. Well, finally, they did capitulate, and they backed down. It took them long enough. It took them, years and a massive release. And I just think it's funny because you had all these people pushing for it over here, a lot of people. And, I'm sure they lost some money through premium when people were canceling. It was a pretty big deal this time. And you had DEG or Deg Mods over here. It's funny because they just kind of slid in with the Voss meme, like, "Hey, we'll see you guys again when they do this shit again next time. We're not going anywhere. We know this is going to be a thing again. We might have won this little battle, but the war is still raging. The culture war is going to go on. It just is. So it's nice to know these guys are over here. They've got their own site where you can follow them and you can get all of your Chad mods from these guys." Nexus Mods statement about banning mods that doesn't fit their agenda. Okay, let's read this real quick. Community notice regarding this mod. Sorry, the quality's kind of crappy. Let me see if this is a little bit better. Oh, it is, but I can't see it. All right, that's cool. So we'll start with this one. This mod has been, and likely will continue to be, a source of controversy within the community. After a thorough review, we've determined that the content of the mod itself does not violate our community guidelines. However, and this is a little cop-out, I think this is funny, due to the nature of the topic, which often attracts intense and sometimes hostile discussion, because you get some Wokey who drops in and starts calling everybody a bunch of incels, and naturally people defend themselves, the comment section will remain locked to prevent further escalation. Why was the original upload removed? And here's their line of bullshit. There has been a lot of speculation and misinformation regarding the removal of the original upload. To clarify, the mod was not taken down because of its content. Yeah, bullshit. Yes, it was. As stated in the ban notice, it was removed due to the uploader's behavior. So I guess that's why they've removed dozens and dozens of mods like this. Over the years, they've removed so many of them that go against this crap over so many different games. It's ridiculous. I guess it was just the behavior. Oh, in the comments, you know, the uploader expressed an intent to incite drama and endorsed an external site explicitly designed to host inflammatory content. So, in other words, they're redirecting people to another site. They don't like that. They don't like the fact that they're not going along with their bullshit. This kind of behavior directly violates our community standards. We recognize that mods like this can bring sensitive discussions around gender and identity to the forefront. While these are important conversations, our platform exists to support creative expression and modding, not to serve as a battleground for broader cultural or political debates. What we will not tolerate is trolling, harassment, discrimination, or any other form of toxicity that these discussions may provide. Our commitment remains the same: to keep modding accessible and welcoming for everyone. Please note any re-uploads of this content or any derivative content intended to circumvent this policy will be removed. Blah, 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 blah. So a bunch of bullshit. Just a bunch of straight up bullshit, okay? It's nonsense. And it wouldn't exist if we didn't have this constant, like, cultural Marxist subversive bullshit being hoisted upon, like, everything, everywhere, constantly. People are over this shit. And because Oblivion is a big enough IP, the Elder Scrolls is huge, you had enough people taking a look at this and getting pissed off enough so that we were like, yeah, no, that's it. And like I said, you had these other mod hosting site come in. They're like, we'll steal your thunder. It's not a problem. You had a lot of people drop their support. They're like, I'm not going to deal with this crap. I'm pulling my premium. And they saw that it was becoming an issue. So they backpedaled on it. And then they put that message up to try to save face. Trying to shift the blame, which is really scummy. Okay? It's a really shitty thing to do when you know exactly what it is you're doing. And then you try to point the finger at somebody else. It's like, nuh-uh, they did it. They did. All these mod authors over the years, from the Harry Potter Hogwarts Legacy game and before that, I'm sure, and all these other games that have removed all this confusion, the authors were the problem. And the comment sections were the problem. Well, why not just lock the comment sections down if that's the issue and leave the mod alone? So you've had a lot of sites that have come along and have been hosting a lot of these mods over the years. I went back to Hogwarts Legacy over the holidays. And in order to get the mods back that I once had, because I deleted them, I had to go to some, kind of shady site. It's like, I don't know if I can trust this to have malware or whatever on it. And that kind of sucks. So people are going to stick with Nexus because they trust it. And they know that, the stuff over here is not going to be packaged with a bunch of garbage. And to their benefit, I have to be fair with Nexus. I've seen some really disgusting shit that people have uploaded over there. I'm talking like predatory, immoral trash that they have removed. But then I've also seen some of that stuff be left alone. I'm talking like really unnerving type of predatory shit that it's fine. They keep it up. I've seen them remove some of it, and I've seen some of it still hosted over there. So, it's one of those things. They do tend to tackle it sometimes, but some of that shit slips through. There's all sorts of mods that are pretty degenerate over there, and they leave them. Those are fine. But then they got to take down the stuff that replaces body type 1 and 2 with male and female. I think that going forward, it would be great, because I don't think they're going to stop this. I don't think anybody who's listening to this is naive enough to think that this is it. we won, and now Nexus Mods is never going to pull this shit again. I think they're definitely going to do it. I think because it's entrenched in their identity as much as it is in ours to reject this kind of shit. That's why we call it a culture war. So I think we won a little battle here, but the war is going to continue, and you're going to have to rely on mod hosting sites like this one, which, you know, I don't know much about these guys, but they seem pretty chill. At least they have a sense of humor, and I don't think we'll ever see an anti-hero villain like Voss ever again. It's like the greatest villain of all time. But anyways, yeah. So people can celebrate this small victory that we won over here against the Nexus woke mafia and all of their garbage. Okay, but don't relent. Never back down. If you're one of those people who's tired of this kind of stuff, I don't know what to say to you. I'm tired of it as well. I wish it would go away and we could just get back to the way gaming was for I don't know how many years. From like the inception of the arcade all the way up until like 2010 or something like that. They've never had this problem with all this ideological subversion bullshit. This is a fairly recent phenomenon, folks. So the people who are waving their fists at us, who are rejecting it, it's like, look, we've been here the whole time. We just want to play video games. We don't want to be lectured to by some SJW nonsense. So people really need to understand that it's not going to stop until they stop trying to shoehorn this shit into everything. And, you know, again, because Oblivion is so big and Elder Scrolls is too big to fail, people are just going to deal with it. If it was maybe a smaller game, they'd say, nah, it's woke, I'm not going to bother, I'm not going to give them my money. But a lot of people are going to, because it's the Elder Scrolls. People don't want to miss out on that, myself included. So, you know, we have to rely on these mods to get rid of it. To, as I said, mod the gay away. And that's precisely what I plan on doing. I plan on playing the game pretty soon. And I haven't played it in years. I never actually beat it. I put like 300 or 400 hours into the game, just roaming around doing random crap, and never beat it. You know how Elder Scrolls can be. But yeah, at this point, I want to turn it over to you guys. What do you think about this stuff? Hopefully you enjoyed it. If you liked it, hit the like button, subscribe, click the notification bell. God bless, and I look forward to seeing you all in the next video.
Nostalgia. It's delicate.